Welcome back. Daniella Squicquero is here with Engel & Volkers Realtors. And so, Daniella, tell us about the market right now. Give us an overview. How's 2017 been? What's going on?
Absolutely. So 2017 so far has been, you see the smile on my face, right? 2017 has been completely crazy in a very good way in the Low Country. And, you know, it's funny, a lot of people come to me and say, you know, I'm hearing that the market is on absolute fire and there's no inventory and there's a squeeze on buyers and prices are going up through the roof like crazy. And, you know, nationally, in general, on average, that might be true. And that's not to say the Low Country market is not hot, because it definitely is, and of course a lot of that's based on different price points. But you really have to be able to look from the macro to the micro level. You know, somebody said to me once that there's no such thing as a national weather forecast, right? So asking about the national real estate market, even though it's based on quantifiable data and you are able to aggregate that information, it doesn't really tell you anything actionable. So when people come and say, oh, there's no inventory, well, that's not necessarily true. A lot of it's based on price point, a lot of it's based on location, different amenities. So as long as you're working with somebody that knows the market, you should be able to find something. But I'll tell you what, it is just a crazy time in the real estate market right now.
Well, that's exciting. Mm-hmm. Never a dull moment, right?
Right.
So does all that apply then to the luxury market as well? Because I know that can be a little bit different.
Definitely. So yes and no. The luxury market in our area, as we've discussed in the past, has been a little bit of a lagging indicator of economic rebounding, if you will. And so we are definitely seeing a resurgence of that market. It's going more slowly, as you might imagine that it would, but it's definitely recovering, which is very good news, both for our sellers and particularly for our luxury buyers, because what that means is that prices are still suppressed, but they're on their way up. So right now really is, the best time to buy.
So it's interesting because you're hearing like it's a seller's market, but really for luxury, it might be a buyer's market.
Yeah, and it, you know what, and it definitely is. And really, after you not even getting into what we would consider the luxury market, but even past the, roughly $500,000 price point, you really are back into a buyer's market. Below that, you're looking at a seller's market for sure, though.
Interesting. And so I know you really focus on stellar marketing. And so what are you finding right now that's working for you, or maybe what isn't working for you? Yeah,
so this is such an interesting conversation because, this changes throughout time. So nobody had the digital advantage in the past. They didn't have those tools available. So while a lot of that is rapidly changing and technology is constantly changing and increasing and allowing for different ways to reach more and more individuals, some of the oldies but goodies do still work. You just have to be specific about where you're using them. So print marketing, everybody says print is dead. Honestly, for the most part, that's true, but not completely. And especially in our market where we have varying widths of demographics, print is actually exactly what's expected in some of our smaller micro markets. So knowing where to use them and the open house is another great one. A lot of people sort of just give up on open houses and say, they don't work. That's not necessarily true. You've got to know how to do them.
So there is still a place for the open house?
There absolutely is a place for the open house. Now I'll tell you, that's with a caveat, because in our area, as we know, there are so many gated communities. So it does get a little tricky when you get in there, but the fact of the matter is, if an open house is done correctly and not at the last minute, it's definitely still a wonderful place to find your buyer.
Thank you for all the information, Daniella. It's helpful as always.
It is my pleasure. Thank you.